I'm just going to walk through the process of creating a course and creating the content for that course. So the first thing we want to do is click on the LMS button on the left hand side. Then we want to click on the assessment and content builder. Once we're in here, we're going to create a new one. So we're going to click the plus symbol here. We're going to give it a title. So we're going to call this forklift. And this is just an internal one. The student doesn't see this information. So forklift content part 1. I'll put that as the description as well. And it's not an assessment, this is just content. So I click the content button here and I'll click update. Now I'm going to add some actual content to it. So I click the add content button. And now I'm just going to get some information from the Word document or the PDF document that you provided. And I've just put it into Word and I'm just copying and pasting that information. It is important to note that pictures and text have to be pasted in there separately. So we'll just paste a little bit of this just so we can see exactly. Okay, and we might say we want this to be on the left hand side and we'll get it to be a little bit bigger. It's a little bit too big. Yep, something like that. Okay, and if we want to add a little bit more to that, we can as well. So we'll just put one more thing in there just for this example. Copy it. Paste it in there. Then we click the update button. So now we've created some content for our course. Now what we'll do is we'll actually go into our course and then we're going to attach this to it. So go to Course Builder. And we'll select the course, so we'll choose the first one. That's not a great image for a forklifting course, but we'll just as a reminder how to change that, we'll click in here. We'll click it, and then we'll just choose some other image. That's not much better, but you get the idea. Just remembering to click update here. Okay, so now that content we just created, we want to attach to this course. So the first thing we want to do though is actually add a heading. Because if I log into the student one now, I'll just show you what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to log in as a student. And you can see there's no actual material yet because we haven't created a content for it. So if I go back to in here, click update on that one, and I add a unit, and I'm going to call this heading 1, and I'm going to click update. Okay, so we haven't actually created anything yet. All we've done is just given a heading, but you can see if I go back into it as a student and I refresh this, you can see now I've got the view course option here because at least I've created a heading. So if I click view course, there's not much besides the actual heading itself. So it just says heading 1, which is exactly what we have here. Okay, and if I update that to now I want to decide to call it section 1, and I click update, and I go back to it as a student and I refresh the page, you can see now it says section 1, but we still don't have any content yet. So if we go back to here, now we want to add some content to this section. So we're going to say add content. We'll give it a name. So we'll call it something like introduction. Helps if I spell introduction right. Introduction. And then in here, we can choose the one that we want. So it's right here. It says content forklift 1. If there was a lot in there, I can just start typing in here and it will filter out all the content that I want in there, but there's not that many, so it's quite easy to find. So I click forklift part 1. And actually on the top right hand side here, it gives me that same screen that we saw before, and I can actually update it through here as well if I wanted to make changes. but just for this example, we'll just ignore that for the moment. So if I click update content now, and I log in as a student, and I refresh the screen, you can see nothing appears to change, but if I click the plus symbol here, you can see the one that we had introduction is now in here. So if I click introduction, you can see that that information is within the box here. So this information down here where it's got overview, resources, and FAQ, that's this section here. So in here, I might want to give some sort of information or overview for this section. So I can say, please read carefully, as there will be a test, or whatever you'd want in there. So once I've typed something in there, I just need to remember to click update content. Okay, now if I go back to the student and I refresh, with a bit of luck, we could see that now it says please read carefully. Okay, so that's the same for the other tabs as well, except the resource one, that's if you were to do any attachments, that's where they will appear. But the FAQs and the transcript are exactly the same as the overview one. Now, if I wanted to do an assessment, so let's just say I've completed all that information now, I'm happy with it, and now I'm going to do an assessment. Same thing there, I can do it all in this one window, but to avoid confusion, I'm just going to go back to the assessment and content builder. In here, I'm just going to create, again, click on the plus, assessment selected there, and I'm just going to call it assessment example. I'm just going to copy and paste it in there. You don't have to do that, that's completely optional. Click update, and now I'm going to add a question, and I'm going to say first question. Okay, I'm going to update that. I'm not going to put teacher's guide for this example. So now I've got an assessment, it's just got one question. If I wanted to add a second question, I can minimize this to make it a little bit easier to read. I click the add question button, it's got a second question. Now I have new question. Okay, remember to click update once I'm done. So now I've got an assessment, it's got 2 questions to it. I've given it a title, I've added the questions, so that's ready to go now. So if I go back to the course builder, and we select the first one again, we can see we've got the heading again, section 1. So they've had an introduction, they've read the information, but now we want to provide an assessment for them. So we again just click add content button here. We go to the second option here. We can say assessment, and then we're just going to look for the one that we just created, and the best way to do that is again just assessment, and we're going to choose assessment example. We're going to click update. If we wanted to put overview in here, you can, something like you must complete this assessment. You can put something in there or not, it's completely up to you. Click the update button. Now if I go back and log in as a student again, and I click refresh, you can see under section 1 we've got the introduction, which was the just the general information, and then we've got an assessment in here where it's got the actual question. You can see the question is first question, and if we scroll down we've got new question and where they would provide their answer into it. So that's just an overview of exactly the process of creating content and assessments. You can do videos and other things in there as well, but just for this overview, we'll just keep it simple, keep it straightforward, and just get your feet wet with doing a couple of these. If you find that it's all too much, the other option is you can just send the information to me, and I'll start uploading it for you. If it's only just the same as those PDFs, it shouldn't take too long.